Good morning, everybody. I'm Kimberly Hubenette, and I'm here in beautiful Cabo San Lucas, and we're doing our Grief Journey 101 Wellness Retreat. Today is second day, and we've had so much fun so far. I'm so excited to share with you my friend, my guest, and my colleague. Her name is Ann, and she's a young 68, going on 40. And she's kind of been a really good, I look up to her, I should say. She's a mentor of mine. And I would say that I totally think about things that she talks to me about. And she really pays attention to life. And you're going to really enjoy what she has to say today about her life. Um, I met her about 10 years ago in a meeting that we went to at a, a colleague, chiropractor friend of mine. And we are biohackers, which means that we're like looking into anti-aging things that we can do to become uh, just more efficient with our lives. And before I get into that, I'm going to have her say hello, introduce herself, and then explain more about this type of a life. And at Live, Love, Survive, and Thrive, my podcast, something that we ask all of our guests to talk about how they live, love, survive, and thrive, what makes it unique to them, their special way of doing that. And we're live in Cabo San Lucas today, and it's such a beautiful day. So I am going to share my screen with you guys, and let's go ahead and say hi to Ann.
Hello.
Hi, Ann.
Hey, it's great to be here.
Yes, isn't it so beautiful?
Yes,
When
gorgeous.
when I invited you to come to Cabo San Lucas and said that we were going to Pueblo Bonito, what kind of a thought that you had about our journey?
Sort of having a little escape from the routine and the everyday life, and enjoying focusing on myself and being with you, enjoying this. It's just so gorgeous. Even with the tropical weather, it's been a lot of inspiration.
And being like together, talking about life and just like friendships and our journey together, how we've been reminiscing how long we've known each other and helped each other out with life changes. You were there when Mark was
Mhm.
sick, and
Yeah.
then you saw the transgression of the journey, and then he passed away. And, you know, you've helped me through a lot. You've been my friend,
Yeah. Thank you.
and you actually made a point to be with me.
Yeah.
On those hard times. And, you know, sometimes I didn't know that I was feeling what I was feeling. And then you came over to be my friend. And it's a little emotional because
it was so kind of hard to imagine the loss for you. And I really couldn't do anything to change what was happening, but I knew being there for you was what I could do.
Mhm.
And I'm glad that it was helpful, and I'm still here for you.
Yes.
And
Oh, definitely.
and life goes on, and we don't forget, but we move on. And I think I've had a lot of loss and tragedy in my life, so I guess that's I've learned from that. And yeah, I'm glad it was helpful.
And I've always looked up to you because you are vivacious, you live life, to the fullest, and you take really good care of yourself. When we met, we were introduced to a company that, was into wellness and biohacking. And I don't know, maybe you can explain biohacking better than me. You always could explain it better than me.
Well, yeah, you don't want to get too complicated with it, but there's, I always have looked at food as being either medicine or helpful or poison. And the choices you make around what you put in your body as far as nutrition will make a difference. And that company had other tools I could add to my uh, belief, I guess, and in how I take care of myself and what I put in my body. And they call them supplements, and that's uh, great. That is a good name because it supplements what you should be doing every day as far as a nutritional um, choices that you make. And I just have over time learned that there's certain foods that and ways of eating throughout the week that give me more energy than other ways of eating. So I think that's really something that I've embraced as a habit. And yeah, so the biohacking is you're a biological being, and the hacking part is the choices you make and what you put in your body. Yeah. And, because of that, I mean, you're vivacious. You have a lot of energy. You're always asking me to go hiking and doing all these things. You're going with your family, your grandbabies, camping, and doing all these outdoor activities because, where we live is Sonoma is like a very, I think there's over 68 different regional parks there, and state parks and national parks close by too. It's a beautiful area to be, but as far as to be living, loving, surviving, and thriving, like my podcast name, I mean, I look up to you because I say, what are you doing now? Because it's evolved. Before you were drinking smoothies in the morning, and then you told me you always suggest certain things to me, different apps, different like things. Okay, Kim, you should try this, or I mean, I explain stuff to you too, what I do, but I love listening to you because you always have, even at my darkest moments, sometimes, I would just be able to go walking with my dog or whatever, but not exercising. And you, like, no matter what, you had a routine. And what inspires me the most is that, your routine isn't just, it's not really hardcore. It's just a routine, a daily routine that gets you out, moving, and being life. Can you explain that? Yeah. And I think the biggest thing for me as I evolve is making an exercise. I just call it moving. If you call it exercise, I think people get all making it something that you can fit into your day. I think that's the most important part for people. It's not something that you have to carve out time to do. So I chunk it. So in the morning I do I used to do Pilates, and I did that for a number of years. And it was just a routine I found from a gal online. She had a little video. It was during COVID when I was working from home, desperately wanting to keep myself, healthy. And I did that for a number of years. And then I had read somewhere you feel like you're sort of plateaued or you're exercise is kind of, I'll use the word boring. And you want to, and also for your body, changing what you do is helpful in moving to another level. So I found chair yoga.
Chair yoga. Oh,
Chair yoga. And I thought, I'd heard about it before, and I thought, oh, it's for old. They always show these older people doing it. And I thought, well, it must not really be that strenuous. But I found a great little app, and it has a little video, and it goes through each movement while you're doing it. And it's 6 minutes all the way through it, and then you can do it another time for a longer 12 minutes. So in less than 15 minutes in the morning, those routines are pretty. I mean, I felt it the first couple days. I really felt, because it was making me move differently than what I was doing before. So that was the change I was looking for. And it fit in the time frame in the morning before my breakfast. I would do that. And again, it's also a routine I can do that I don't feel like I have to eat before it and then wait and then do it. I just do it, drinking my coffee, and then I go and eat breakfast, and I'm off to work.
Yeah, because still you have a career.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I'm at the end. I'll be retiring this end of the school year. And but the other part of my daily thing is before lunch at work, I have a period of, I try to schedule. I can schedule my time so I can have a 20-minute period for a break, and I go out, I put walking shoes on, and I walk, come back, and soon after that I eat my lunch. So that's every day. Sundays sometimes I don't do it, but and then here we've been here, and I've been very active, but I haven't been doing that. And that was intentional, because I just thought, well, sometimes it's nice to take a break. But we've been super active. Like,
yeah, how many steps?
Yeah, the first day when we were coming on the plane and doing all that moving, with traveling. Yeah, we had a gazillion steps. My move, I have a watch that shows how I'm moving throughout the day, and that was, off the charts too that day. And yesterday, with what we did, moving, and I walked along the beach, and I went in the water and swam, 5 times, I guess.
Yeah, you did.
I just love, well, it just.
You're more active than me.
Yeah, well, it kept calling me in, I wanted to enjoy that. So I think it's being intentional and dedicated, I guess is another word. And the rewards are, like you said, I am more alert, I feel good. And then I pair that with how I eat now every day. And that's a whole nother story, the way I eat now. But it's something called carb cycling, which causes my metabolism to stay kind of revved up all the time. So it has helped me lose some added weight that I had. And when I go off it and I'll eat differently than my plan, I feel kind of sluggish and dull thinking.
So do you avoid carbs a lot, you think? Or do you still eat carbs?
I still eat carbs, but I only do it on a certain. I eat carbs every day. It's just on one day I eat very low amount of carbs. But I have an increase in the fats. Like I'll have a little bacon that day, or avocado, and then the medium carb day, it's the same thing, only a little more carbs. A piece of toast with eggs in the morning, and maybe sweet potatoes with dinner or something like that. And then the high carb day is just a little more carbs. And but it also has very high protein. That's the other thing. And as you get older, people need more protein, because I'm not sure why. I have read about it, and it is something that helps maintain, your muscle, your loop. I know why, because as you get older, your muscle mass starts decreasing. So that helps
Okay.
mitigate that, I guess. But I do notice when I go off the way I eat, I'll just get really sluggish and dull. So it's not hard for me to stay on it because I like the way it feels.
And it sounds to me like you're eating everything that you want, pretty much. I mean, you said bacon, you
Mm-hmm.
said avocado,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Toast,
toast.
Mhm.
Okay.
rice.
Has there been things that they say you cannot eat?
Well, I avoid sugars, and I lost any kind of craving for sugary things.
That's a good point because sugar is
A poison.
yeah, it really is.
It is,
It's
especially too much of it.
yeah,
It, as you know, rots your teeth.
that's right. I mean, come on, I'm a dentist. I
Yeah.
don't want to eat sugar either. I mean,
Yeah.
anything that you eat that turns into sugar, except for water,
Mhm.
like, and if you're having some sort of like substitute sugar, that helps too, but it
Mhm.
has to be a good substitute sugar, right?
Mhm. Yeah, I do. I use monk fruit.
Yeah.
For a long time I used to use stevia, but the monk fruit is, I don't know, I like it. It's a really good taste in my coffee, and that's about it. If I have iced tea, I might put it in there. So um, there is another little trick, a little biohack that I do besides the supplements. At lunchtime, I'm very almost religious about it. When I eat my lunch, I have water with an electrolyte tablet. So I have an electrolyte drink. So it kind of replenishes from the exercise and the walking.
You mean like the kind that you go on hikes, like when you go to REI, you find these little.
Yeah, it's a tube that has these tablets and they kind of fizz in the water.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
So,
I like
I mean,
that one.
there's better ones than others.
Yeah,
but-
this one's pretty high quality. I
and it
saw
doesn't have sugar? Or, I mean,
it has
does
a
have
sweet taste. It has a sweet taste, but it's not really super sweet.
Okay.
Yeah, it may use a natural sweetener that's
Uh-huh.
not sugar. I'll have to check that. I don't think it has sugar in it, but it has something that makes it kind of sweet. And it's kind of effervescent. And I commute 40 miles to and from work. So I don't want to drink coffee because after about 10 o'clock in the day, I don't ever drink any caffeine because it causes me to have difficulties falling asleep. So the electrolyte drink at lunch is my way of kind of boosting myself. So when I leave work, I'm kind of awake
Yeah.
during the commute, which is a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, you drink plenty of water too, right?
Yes, yes. Actually, I drink probably 2 cups of water in the morning when I get up, 16 ounces. I just chug it. And I have the 16 ounces at lunch. And then before I leave work, I have another big chug of water.
And it's like a lifestyle. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not something that you force yourself to do. You feel good doing it, right?
I feel good doing it, and it's a habit. I think that's the other thing. These are become habits of my life. And when I first started, it had to be very intentional. Now it's just that's what I do. I just, it's almost like I don't think about it.
When do you think you started becoming intentional about having to do all this? Or had you always been doing this? Because ever since I've known you, you've been doing this. But maybe,
It's evolved.
did you have, when do you remember an age range that you made yourself be intentional about looking at your health in this way? Like,
I think the exercise part was always there because I was always an active child and I did sports. And when I went to college, I wasn't doing the sports as much. So I joined which is hilarious, in San Diego, one of the Jack LaLanne.
oh, I remember Jack LaLanne.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And I think I was I did it on my birthday. It was a birthday gift to myself, and I've always done something. I remember before I got married, I used to have this little mini trampoline. After I had kids, I know I have somewhere. Probably still have it. The Jane Fonda workout tape.
Oh goodness, she's still looking good
Yeah.
too, right?
I had that when I had kids. I'd put that in, and while they were playing, I'd be listening to Jane and doing something. So I've always found something to try and help me. And but I think during the COVID, it was, and I was my age. I've had grandchildren come into my life, and I want to be healthy and have um, people talk about the lifespan. I really want to have a health span that has high quality. So I'm going to get older, can't do anything about that, but I can do all these other things to help me have a quality of health span. So as I get older, I'm not unable to do things that I want to do. I've had to learn to say no to things and that I used to love to do. Like for instance, this is a funny story. My husband, the other thing is my husband and I we cycle, we ride bikes pretty regularly. And that's something that's very a common thing between us. And I joke with my husband and I said, yeah, when I'm older, we bought different bikes. I have a 10-speed bike, I have a mountain bike, and then I have a little cruiser bike I ride with my granddaughters. And I told him, I said, probably the last bike I'll have is an adult tricycle. So I still can do stuff,
Yeah.
but it'll be safer. And so I think that's the part that I think you're hitting on, is that I think about it.
Yes.
I don't sleepwalk through life. I really think about and I think about what I can do for myself so that I'm the best I can be for the people I love. I think that's another thing. A lot of people, and especially in what I do in education, it's a giving, and you too, it's a giving service kind of job. And you have to really work at thinking about yourself because, and being a mother, that's the other thing. I think we were talking about some of the things that I learned through a trauma in my life with my son, is that I had to learn. That was a really big wake up call, that I had to learn to know what I could do and what I should do, what I could control and what I can't. And I think a lot of times, especially for mothers, there's a tendency to be giving too much in the wrong ways, and rather than looking at, I just need to take care of myself physically and mentally so that the needs of others I can better serve. That's something I've learned and am very grateful for. There's another thing. I don't think this is really a biohack, but I forget where I learned it, and I've heard it in a couple of different sources. Is before I get out of bed, I try to think of 3 things that I'm grateful for. Or I think one of them said, like, the day before, what were 3 things that you were grateful to have happened or that you did? And then I get out of bed. And that, I think, is a more mental health, because there there are times when I've been, I forgot that. And you look at life a whole lot differently when you have a more grateful outlook every day.
Yeah. And like a lot of our listeners, maybe they've lost a loved one, or, had trauma, or they're trying to move forward with their life. We kind of skipped over that part of it because I wanted to talk to you about health. But, you're not a stranger to having lost loved ones in your life too, And so that's why I was attracted to it,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, it's tragedy is gonna happen. I mean, it is. This it's part of life. And again, you can handle things in life if you're taking care of yourself physically and mentally. And I guess I'm not a real religious or spiritual person, but as I've gotten older, I thought that maybe having some, or it's weird to say spirituality, but some kind of a lot more philosophical outlook on life.
Yeah.
And I'm not like as I said, I'm not like a really religious person, but having a more of a kind of a middle road. And so I've been listening to podcasts when I'm commuting, of a Buddhist monk, a couple of different ones. And I really like their philosophy around life, and that being kind of the middle road is what is one of their tenets, not too extreme one way or the other, having a balance. I think it's the
balance of life.
Yeah. And then I think the other part was, when something comes up, I've learned to ask, how can I, you know, take how it's affecting me, thinking, what can I do because of this problem? And like I said, with your loss, I mean, it wasn't anything I could do about what had happened, but I knew that I could spend time with you and comfort you. And I think that's really important during traumatic things. And when my son was suffering with addiction, it was devastating to the whole family. And as a mom, I had to learn that it was his problem. I didn't cause it. I couldn't cure it. Um, and slowly but surely, that strength, actually, that experience strengthened my knowledge that I can be, I can love him, but I have to let him go find his recovery. I couldn't do the recovery. He had to do the recovery. And that, in a way, was probably one of that was so I could look at it as like, oh God, that was a horrible thing that happened. I look at it now going, wow, I really came out of that stronger person. That I do not, I look at when I was what they call enabling him, because I thought I could save him and do this, help him, and learned that that was actually making it worse. I'm a stronger person now, and I think you asked me, what happens if they relapse, and I know that I won't react the same way again. I'm stronger, and I have a better mindset towards it. So in tragedy, in life, in anything, failure, there's always a lesson. There's always a lesson.
That's important to know.
Yeah, there's always a lesson for you. And if you dwell on the awful, terrible part of it, you might miss that lesson. So I think that's a big part of my attitude in life. And I think I've said it a bunch of times to you. Life is what it is.
Yes.
And accepting it as it is, then you can ask those questions. Now, what do I do? What can I do? That sort of thing. It really gives you much more calm, and dare I say serenity.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so that's my attitude in a nutshell. Now I'm talking about it now like Ann's got it all sussed, and there's I get tired, things happen. I don't always react in the calm way that I want to, but I certainly don't beat myself up about it. I just go, whatever, I blew it. I'm moving on. I probably should have not done that while I was tired, or, hungry, or, there's usually a reason why you're behaving badly. So, and I think another thing is choosing people that I spend time with. That's a very important thing. I think we were talking about family members and stuff that, you know, or friends. I mean, I don't have a ton of friends, but the friends I do have, I never, there isn't a moment that I go, wow, what a drag being, hanging around with Kim, it's never doing that again. But, and I think that's a very important thing. It's a little more difficult with work. I have, work colleagues that I would probably never be friends with, but I have to work with them. So
make it.
Yes, but the nice thing is I can go home and forget about their, you know, whatever it is that I don't care for. And luckily I don't have terrible workmates, but I'm just trying to say there's been throughout my life, there's been times when I go, I have to work for this person, but I certainly wouldn't seek them out as a friend.
Yeah. So there's choices.
Yeah.
But you're gonna retire maybe in 5 years or
No, I'm gonna retire this June.
okay. So what's life gonna be like for Ann after this? I think you said that you might have some fun doing some yoga retreats or something like that, or
Like, yeah, I was thinking that because I always get this response from people like, wow, you're in such great shape and all of that. And you've said it, inspires, you. I thought, well, I could probably do that. I worked for many years as an educator and administrator in public education. So I know I have a, what is it? Some people say I can easily engage people in things.
you're a people person.
Yeah,
for sure.
And yeah, that would be kind of fun. And
You're an influencer.
yeah, it would be fun to do that. And absolutely, we'll spend time with and helping my son and his wife with their daughters, my grandkids. They live nearby, so I know they working parents always need some help. So I enjoy doing that. And probably doing more active things with my husband again, like we did when we first met. I mean, we still do it, but we'll be doing it more. And my daughter-in-law has a business and she needs some help doing, she's grown so much, she needs some help doing things that aren't like the background stuff.
Yeah.
Like she's the front person and does, the sales, I guess is the best way to put it. And the background stuff takes time.
Yes.
And so I my husband and I had a business before I went into um, education, and I have knowledge and understanding of bookkeeping and that sort of stuff. So I told her I would work part-time. So I we're gonna try it out. We're gonna try it. I told her let's try it. Well, I'll work probationary and we'll see how you like having me work for you.
Anybody would be lucky to have you on their team.
Yeah, but I'm her mother-in-law and she's the boss,
Yeah.
so it'd be a new facet of our relationship. So we'll see how that goes and whether or not I want to do it, that sort of thing. And I don't think it'd be much time. So I remember a while ago, I kept saying, what am I going to do when I retire? So it's kind of just evolved and happened. So
would you say there would be like the takeaway today is that you have a few things that you do every day? What would you tell our listeners, the ones that are, kind of wondering what they're going to do after, you know, they've lost their loved one or they've had trauma and try to take action? I mean, what I hear from you is that number one, you always take action. And number two, you always have like a routine to do things. But are there other things that you want to tell our listeners to do daily or have a routine?
Well, in the moment of crisis,
yeah,
don't do it alone. Seek out support. I did that when I was having the crisis with my son. And for 3 years, I was part of a family support group. And I can't say enough about how helpful that was.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though I was a very mature person, you know, you can always, you don't know what you don't know, I guess is a great way to put it when a crisis comes.
Yeah.
Because it's not like, oh, you're living your life and you're like, oh, when my son becomes totally addicted and ruining his life, I'll know exactly what to do and how to behave. Or when I'm in the middle of my career and marriage, my husband dies, I'll know exactly what to do. Well, you probably won't, right?
Right. No matter how prepared you think you might be,
Uh-huh.
even if it was like for me, it was a chronic illness that Mark passed away from.
Mhm.
We planned things, we knew, but it's still the day comes and
And they're gone.
gone.
Yeah. Or they're, you know, wildly addicted and there's nothing you can do. So, and that's the first thing that I realized when I joined that family group. Almost within the first 15 minutes of the first meeting was, um, you know, I didn't cause it. I can't cure it. I can't control it. It was like, bang, duh, you know, it was like, and those were the other people in the group. And then the other thing that I heard was, you know, we love them so much that we make the mistake of enabling. And actually, I remember that some guy in the meeting said, well, you might as well just go out and buy the drugs for him if you're going to let him stay at home and use. And I thought, oh my gosh, you know. So there's those sort of things, and I know not everyone has the same challenge as I had, but any challenge like that where I mean, it was so debilitating for me. I'm pretty sure I became clinically depressed. Um, and that's because I was sitting in my own, trying to struggle with it on my own. And it caused tension with my husband, of course. And as soon as I started hearing the voices of other people, other parents who had gone through what I was going through and how they dealt with it and what happened for them, it started to, it presented opportunities in my mind for dealing with it. And I think that's what I'm saying. If you are struggling and you are in pain, don't do it alone.
Yeah.
There's so, I can't say enough about support groups. And I did hear a number of times if the group doesn't seem to click for you, there's other groups. Just so happened the group I found clicked, and it was easy to do with it. It was a Zoom meeting. So I think that is probably the one of the most important things to do. And I remember my boss at work was going through a terrible medical problem, and she kind of commented when we were walking somewhere how, you know, she was struggling with it. And I just turned to her and I said, are you attending a support group?
Mm-hmm.
I said, you know, there's a lot of other people who are going through what you're going through. And she goes, you know, I hadn't thought of that. And I said, well, you might look into it. Could be very helpful. And a few months later, I saw she seemed a little happier, and I thought, well, maybe she did that, maybe she didn't. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what you don't know. And
Yes.
if people are your friends or your colleagues that, you trust them, I mean, hopefully you hang around with people that are going to give you a better life.
Yeah.
Help you.
Right. And friends and family are one thing, support, and choosing friends who are comforting and you click with it are important. A support group, though, is another thing through crisis that is so important, because oftentimes your friend, and for instance, my little sister, she was sympathetic to a point of my what I was going through, but she couldn't relate.
Mhm.
But the people in the support group, I knew they knew how
What
I
was
was feeling.
going
Yeah.
on?
So that's the difference there.
Yep.
You need both, but you need to understand that some of these other people, your family and friends, who aren't experiencing what you're going through, may not be a support for you.
Mhm.
But the support group, because it's filled with people who have suffered exactly what you've gone through, and you all start speaking the same language, the enabling, this or that, active this. And so there's a difference. And I see the power of connecting with people who have gone through the same crisis.
So in other words, whatever your trauma is, whatever you've dealt with, find a group that is going through the same thing as yourself. But then also,
especially if it's affecting you as much as it was for me.
And then also take action with your health.
Mm-hmm.
And keep on moving with your health too. Mm-hmm.
Well, that was one thing I kept hearing too. Take care of yourself. The people who I called like the veterans who've,
Mm-hmm.
survived it one way or the other. Either they've been able to survive the continued active addiction with their child, which I was amazed to see, or they survived the active addiction and the child recovering. That got to take care of yourself. That's number one. I kept hearing that from them. So that's when I think I found that gal with the Pilates. I started doing that regularly, and then the walking every day. And it just kind of evolved, and I started to become stronger physically and mentally. And I know now, regardless of what crisis hits me, of course I'll be devastated, but my long-term response will be, it is what it is, and I can only do what Ann can do.
Yeah, that's your motto, kind of, right?
Yes.
Let's say it again.
It is what it is. Ann can only do what I can do, and part of that is taking care of myself. So, and I think what you're doing here with this podcast is another facet of helping people with the recovery of trauma or crisis.
Yeah.
Because it is kind of a recovery. I mean, it hits people in a lot of different ways. I mean, there's some people who, I think I was talking about something in my childhood. There's some people who just, they don't talk about it. It's like,
yeah.
And that's not healthy.
Yeah.
When something happens terrible and it's an emotional trauma, just to bury it is not healthy.
Yeah.
We could have whole podcasts on that one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I really thank you for accepting and saying yes to being interviewed on my Live, Love, Survive, Thrive podcast. I hope that everybody listening will be inspired by your story and the things that you do in life. And this is not going to be the last time that I'm going to ask you to join my podcast, because you have a lot of things to share.
Yeah, well, I don't mind if people want to catch up with Mimi. That's what I'm called now.
Yeah, catching up with Mimi.
Sure, I'm fine with that.
How can they find you? Yeah.
I'm not on social media anymore, so
Okay.
Maybe I'll change that, but I'm really not.
Yeah.
I think that was another part of my health thing. So, and with all the other things that are going on in the world, it was just made it easier for me to.
Yeah. But you never know. If you catch up with Mimi, you might find her somewhere walking down the road or hiking or
talking about the new shoes. Shoes are important, all these different I mean, I talked about a lot of things, but there are a lot of little details that I have done to help me keep going. So
yeah. Well,
thanks, Kim.
Thank you so much. This is Kimberly Hubenette. here in Cabo San Lucas, enjoying our wellness and our retreat. Today, we're going to be going to our massages and eating a healthy breakfast. So I am going to sign off for now. And I hope to see you guys soon, and I'll see you then. Live, love, survive, and thrive.